Hello, everybody. My name is Lengwe Bobo, and today I'm gonna be talking to you about mental health and advocacy because apparently I am a mental health advocate, right? So I'm just gonna go into the nitty gritties. What is mental health? What is mental illness? Misconceptions around those things. What is advocacy? Who can be an advocate? Do I need an advocate? Do I need some special, I don't know, to be an advocate? And the answer to that is no, but we're going to get into it. Okay, so I have questions in order to just guide me, right? And my first question is, what is mental health and mental illness, right? So mental health is about the general well-being of your mind. Are you fine? Are you not fine? It encompasses the good and the bad. Because there's this thing where we use mental health and mental illness interchangeably, and that's not the way to use the terms, guys. Mental health is about everything. And then when you go to mental illness, it probably comprises what we call the bad, right? I'm not fine, I'm anxious, I'm sad. Those are things to do with like mental illness. And that's not to say that when you're sad, you're mentally ill. No, it's just to say that there's certain feelings that come with it. Like I can give you an example. I was diagnosed with dysthymia, which is mild long-term depression. So I guess, yeah, I got depressed, but the accurate feeling of it is I get sad, right? That's when I'm not fine. That's when I'm ill. It's when I get sad. So that's what I meant. And then you have, what are the greater misconceptions about mental health and mental illness? So my thing is, firstly, the name. They're not interchangeable, guys. Secondly, it's that it is fictitious. Just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's not there, guys. I think that people want to be able to see a certain thing. Like when I told people like, oh no, I was diagnosed with this and this, and certain people are just like, but how? You don't look like it. You're performing well. Yeah. I was like, I don't know how to answer your questions. You don't have to look a certain way. Mental illness doesn't have a face, guys. The happiest people can commit, the happiest looking people can commit suicide just because they were depressed. So, mental health, just like it runs deep, it's about somebody's mind, and y'all know nobody really knows anybody's mind apart from God. So just don't take anybody for granted. Don't take anything for granted. Like, check in with people. Even if you feel somebody is fine, even if you think somebody is fine, just say hi. How are you? How are you really? Are you okay? A question that me and my friends ask each other is, are you happy? Because are you happy is a very, very direct question. Like, are you okay? I genuinely want to know that stuff. So that's my thing, right? Then what are some of the negative effects of stigma? Stigma can leave somebody feeling alone and can make somebody not want to try anymore. Stigma is something that we are prone to as a country. We're very used to stigma. Like, let me give you an example. When you pass, like Lusaka, Zambia, you're in the streets, you see somebody not dressed well, somebody picking up stuff from the trash. They're homeless, yes, definitely. But another thing that we're going to say is they're mad. All right? And in Zambia, I feel like most parts of Africa, it's all like, oh, that person was bewitched, right? Y'all, sometimes it's just that person is mentally well and they need the help. And that's where stigma comes from, right? And the negative effects of that are what we see. They don't get help. People kick them out. You need to help these people. I need help some days. I need help. I get to points where I don't want to eat. I get to points where I don't want to live, right? And we need your help. And if you're gonna have stigma about it, you're gonna think that we're trying to get your attention, what we're attention seeking. I think it's not very fair to anybody, to yourselves, because if somebody were, for example, to commit suicide, you're like, but why didn't they say anything? But they didn't look like it. No, guys, let's be more human and more aware of each other's issues. And people will hide. I'm not gonna say that everybody that you ask is like, I have a problem. No. But Be genuine, be consistent. Ask if you feel like something's wrong. Ask, can you get them some help? What do they need? That kind of stuff. As Zambians, how do we let go of cultural stereotyping in relation to mental health? Again, great question, because I just touched on that. You get rid of it by starting. You who is watching should start. You shouldn't wait for anybody to tell you. You shouldn't wait for anybody to stand up to your mom or to your dad. And it's not being disrespectful, by the way. I'm not saying like go like, no. Like when they say certain things, just like, ma, I don't think this person is fine. I think they might have a mental illness. This could be depression. Somebody could be anxious. You don't know the full situation, so don't judge them. And I think the thing that I dislike the most is when people see something, and they believe that they're the best person to pass an opinion about it. No, you're not. You're not. Okay? So let's help by being the change. You know, I have an aunt who's always telling me, like, you think you can change the world, and yes, I can, though. You start with one person at a time. You start by informing one person. You start by correcting one person. You start by using the correct terminologies with different people so that they adopt those terminologies and they get it, right? And the stigma starts falling away, because stigma is created by sort of like this air of taboo, like, oh, we can't talk about that here. No. We're a Christian household. How is it going to look if this child says she's depressed? No. You know, in as much as you can turn to God, you can turn to the church when you're not fine, right? Certain churches do have counseling services and stuff like that, therapy. You can't pray the mental illness away. And this is a bit of a controversial way to put it, because mental health is about the mind. So if you pray, you know, I have friends who told me, like, just don't think about it. Just don't. So in my right mind, I get up every day and just start deciding, like, okay, today I'm just going to be sad. No, guys, it doesn't work like that. The mind is a very mysterious and very interesting thing. So you can use tips. Like for me personally, when I have a great relationship with God, like when I'm in my bag, when I'm praying, I get better, I get well. But that's not the case for everybody. And we run the risk as a country of just shunning people, you know, shutting them out because we don't believe something. If you don't believe in mental illness, that's fine for you, right? But don't deprive somebody else from getting the help that they need just because you don't want to come to terms with reality, right? In that, God can help. God is a miracle worker. He can help. But when we are physically ill, what do? Most of y'all don't pray. When you're physically ill, get up, go to the hospital. When you're mentally ill, get up, go to the hospital. Allow people that chance. Please. And speak out for the people who can't speak out for themselves. If you see your young cousin isn't fine, just be like able to say, like, auntie, I think this person could use some talking to. They may not be fine. Just do what you can. What does it mean to be an advocate for mental health? I think to me it means, like I said, being the voice of the voiceless. And so only that, it's important to realize that, like my experience that I just shared with you, it's not the universal experience. Like if I take everything that I say that I've been through as the universal experience, even with people who've got dystonia like I do, there's no universal experience. You have to be able to look into it, to ask people. Be very careful, like, not to generalize, because then then certain people fail to come out, because like, my issue probably won't be looked at as an issue because this thing looks like this. It has a way that it looks. So I think the thing about being a mental health advocate is to make sure it's not centered around you. It's centered around other people, it's centered around their problems, and the help they can get, you know. And you don't need to be like super sad or super depressed to see a therapist, actually. In this country, maybe, because because of the way the system is and the availability of people and all that stuff. But generally, talk to somebody. Just talk when you're not fine. Talk when you're fine. Talk when you're happy. Just be there for people all around. I do this thing where once in a while I just check in on people just to see how they are, which I think is a basic human thing, but we don't do much of. And randomly I send people messages like in the morning, like, good morning, how are you? I love you, I appreciate you. And I think it really does go a long way to be able to see people and see their human side. And this goes to like older people too, because as young people, sometimes we forget like our parents have their issues, our aunties, our uncles, our grandparents. But see them as human. Know that there's this mental health aspect to it. Make sure they're fine. That's advocacy to me. Starting from home and not being self-centered. What common actions can anyone take in the spreading of awareness? Like I said, reach out, talk to people, inform people, invest in understanding people and understanding their stories. What happened to you? What could have led to this? What do you think the response to this is? Because there's no universal response. Even when I was going through therapy, it would be like, okay, you can try this, or you can try this, or you can try this, or you can try this. It wasn't like, when this happens, you must just do this. There's no such thing, because it's not a universal experience, right? People experience it in different ways. So learn people's stories, give accurate accounts, learn your stuff, right? If you're going to be talking about anxiety, know that anxiety looks like different things. Know that somebody can have an anxiety attack, or somebody can just be anxious and not show it. Right? Be open. Be ready to know that you may not always be right, but you try, and you try to represent what exists, and you try to give other people the best chance that they can in the system that we have. Because like I said, the system in Zambia universally isn't great, but we are the starting point. So it doesn't take anything. You don't need special permission. You don't need a degree. You don't need a diploma. You just need to start talking about it. That's what I do. I post about it on my Facebook. I'll post about climate change. I'll post about voter education, because those are the things I'm passionate about. Those are the things that I feel are not being talked enough about. I'll talk about rape culture. I'll talk about patriarchy. I'll talk about all those things because I feel like there's a gap that needs to be filled. There's opinions that need to be heard. There's voices. There's stories that need to be known. Advocacy. And spreading awareness. What are the greater misconceptions about advocacy? Just what I said, that you need a special skill to be an advocate. No, you just need to be able to talk about it. If like myself, okay, so there's a difference between advocacy and activism. And in the beginning, I used to say I'm an activist, but no, I'm not really. I think, okay, for mental illness, the difference is subtle. But for things like climate action, I would say I'm an advocate rather than an activist. An advocate will talk about it, will spread awareness about it. An activist will go down on the streets, will go to the offices that need to be gone to, and will put up that case, right? Advocates can do the same, but activists are more active, right? So no, you don't need a special skill. If you prefer typing, then be writing that stuff on your social media and advocate for the right things. Know the direction you're going. Advocate for better mental health facilities. Advocate for people to just know about it, to just talk about it, to destigmatize it. That's what I do. I don't talk about anything in particular. I don't talk about depression in particular, anxiety in particular, PTSD in particular. I talk about it as a whole thing. I want people to be able to recognize that there's no look for it, that people can look fine and not be fine, that we need to help each other, that we're a global community. We need to take care of one another. And so for me, I'd just say start where you are, start with what you have. If you don't like typing, if you like talking, do videos. If you don't like that, draw. I know somebody whose art is about he uses his art for advocacy, right? Do what you can with what you have. And I think that's what started me on this journey. My journey didn't start with mental health. My journey started with rap culture, but it was kind of like I saw a gap. And I'm like, oh no, I'll need this. I'll need to go and talk to this. But I'm just like, no, but the information needs to go out now. People need to know about it now. And so what did I do? Got my phone, started typing about it. Got my phone, I argued with a couple of people about this. I argue with people like all the time. And it's not this arguing where I'm just like, I'm right. I think you can learn something from everybody, even though certain people are annoying, but you can learn something from everybody. And it's about bringing forth your points. Like, I believe this because of this. You know, I've seen it. I've seen this. Your experience might be different, and I'm not taking away that. I'm not deducting from it. But this is also an equally valid story and experience. And we should know that they're different people, come from different backgrounds, and we should all be able to have recognition for what we've gone through. Just because I've gone through something and you're going to go through something else that may be deemed universally as worse, and I mean it is worse, right? It doesn't mean that you can take away what I felt just because you feel some certain type of way. So I think those are things to keep in mind, you know, and just do it, guys. Start now. Start after this video. Make your own video. Make a voice note, like not voice note per se, but you can actually do a voice note and just have a video background or a picture background. You can do so many different things. Get creative, guys. Talk to your friends about it in your classes, wherever you are. I talk to my friends about it in university. I spoke about it in high school, you know. So I think there's nothing that should limit you. Talk about it at work, in the office. Be more sensitive. Because I think another thing that people don't realize that you're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed not to know and then to know. I say this because I started on this path a long time ago, and I would say certain things, and my cousins would feel certain, not everybody, but like some of my cousins would be skeptical about it and like, you're just attention seeking, you're just, and I guess so at that point where they didn't understand, and now it's like, oh, I understand this. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to not believe, then believe. You're allowed to turn from Saul to Paul. It's allowed. Do it. So that's basically all I have for you today. If you wanna contact me, hit me up. Lengwe Bobo on Twitter, Lengwe Bobo on Instagram, Lengwe Bobo on Facebook. And yeah, have a great week.